Okay, so I think a lot of people know what Valley Forge is. Valley Forge, for those that don't, is the brutal winter encampment that the Continental Army is in the winter of 1777 to 1778. Conditions were freezing, they were cold, they were short of supplies. The army itself was basically falling apart. What I want to stick today to is some of the people that were at Valley Forge, because it's really a list of who's who in the Continental Army. So let's figure out who's there. Okay, so it's probably pretty obvious that George Washington is there. I do want to point that Martha Washington is also at Valley Forge. Fun fact, real quick, if George Washington decided to become King of the United States, the current King of the United States, if everybody married who everybody did, I know that wouldn't happen, but just pretend, would actually be Robert E. Lee, the third or fourth, because they marry into the Custer family, who marries into Robert E. Lee's family. So just kind of a cool thing there. Anyways, Martha Washington is at Valley Forge. I think a lot of people forget that Alexander Hamilton is part of the Army. He serves as George Washington's aide-de-camp. He is at Valley Forge. He's also in a couple other places in the American Revolution, including the Battle of Trenton, though he doesn't actually see action there. He's not feeling too hot that day. And he is at the Battle of Yorktown. Related to Hamilton, Aaron Burr is also at Valley Forge. Him and George Washington served some time together in Boston. They apparently do not get along very well. Aaron Burr is also almost involved in the Conway Cabal, which was a plot to get Washington replaced by Horatio Gates. After the fact, Burr is also an advocate of General Charles Lee, which, if you know from the musical, gets absolutely ripped apart by George Washington for his failure to do really anything at the Battle of Monmouth. Our future fourth president of the United States, James Monroe, is at Valley Forge. He's just a teenager when he joins the Army. He actually gets wounded at the Battle of Trenton, getting shot in the shoulder. He leaves the Army a few years later and then will go to study law under Thomas Jefferson before becoming our fourth president. Henry Knox was responsible for safeguarding the encampment at Valley Forge. He also was one to secretly bring up 50 cannons at Dorchester Heights, making sure that the colonists can secure Boston early in the Revolutionary War. He's also a major player in the battles of Trenton and is the namesake behind Fort Knox, which is where the United States keeps its gold supply. Baron von Steuben is a Prussian military officer that winds up fighting for the Continental Army and is at Valley Forge. Thanks to him, we become more of an actual army due to his training and tactics he employs at Valley Forge. Marquis de Lafayette is also present at Valley Forge. Lafayette is one of 8 honorary U.S. citizens and co-authors the Declaration of the Rights of Man, which is actually France's present constitution. Joseph Plum Martin is also at Valley Forge, and though he might not be the most famous name, he writes a lot about the Revolution. He joins when he's 15 and is at a handful of really influential battles and places. But per always, I'm running out of time. There's a handful more people that are at there, a lot of famous generals. But always, hopefully you learned something. Love you all.